podcast listeners. Gossip Grid here, your guide to F1's paddock elites.
I obviously have to start with Paris Fashion Week because we saw Formula One drivers all over the place. We saw, and no one is allowed to make fun of me for how I mispronounce designer names. I'm trying my best. Not allowed to make fun of me. I'm going to do my best. So first, we saw lovely Charles at the Namias. One of those is correct.
Did better than I would have.
Nahmias, which is really cool because it was started by a friend of his. It was a pretty young brand. It was at that fashion show. And then we also got to see Esti Bestie, my new bestie, at the Givenchy fashion show with his beautiful girlfriend. I absolutely loved her outfit as well. And we got to see Pierre at the Louis Vuitton fashion show. There was an entire behind-the-scenes video done with Vanity Fair where he speaks entirely in French, and it's him getting ready with the stylist and getting dressed. It's so great. He gives an absolutely wonderful recap about the entire fashion show and how much he loves it and adores it. And he said that Rosalia's performance was the highlight of the show besides the incredible clothes, which I can definitely guarantee. And then all three of them got to team up together and go to the NBA Paris game, which is a lot of fun. They got to sit courtside. We got some really great selfies. We even got to see some videos of Charles and Pierre playing basketball. I think they should stick to driving. But I really liked seeing Formula One drivers being posted by these brands. These really large fashion brands are using them as a face or an ambassador or promoting their clothes. And it's seeing drivers outside an area that's not necessarily driver related. Really powerful. This is a lot about kind of their growth and expansion and their effects in the fashion industry of all places.
How do they get invites to this?
It's a great question. I wish I could tell you from personal experience from all the fashion shows that I've been invited to, which is none. So obviously none. One day, maybe, hopefully. I believe from what I consume on the internet, it's a little bit a mix of both. I think it's a lot of working with publicists and teams. I think depending on the drivers, I can definitely see for Paris Fashion Week and with the rise of Formula One's popularity everywhere, it was a really good idea for them to be like, hey, there's French drivers and we should have them at our shows. And I think also as the photos of drivers arriving to the paddock in outfits that aren't necessarily, driver team polos or anything like that, it's more opportunities for these brands to create a fashion moment. I mean, I'm always looking to see what drivers are showing up wearing to the paddock or for any race week. So I think it's a little bit of both. I wouldn't be surprised if there's publicists reaching out and saying like, hey, this could be really good, and brands taking advantage of that. It's a win-win across the board. So I'm sure it varies and it's different. I think at least in Charles's case, it's like a supporting of a friend and that whole type of thing. But at least in terms of NBA Paris game, I'm assuming it's pretty similar, especially since all three of them were seated together courtside, participating in brand activation things there. It was huge. So I definitely don't see that going away in the fashion sense, in the sport sense. So this is my call out for next year for the NFL games that will be happening. I would love to see British F1 drivers at a game in London, or when they play in Germany, see some German drivers there. But particularly, hey, the Bills playing in London could be on a Sunday though, or during a race weekend, which is pretty unfortunate. But if only that there was an F1 driver that might not have to drive a certain day and is a big Bills fan. So, Danny Rick, maybe? I would love to see him at an NFL game entirely in London.
Do we know that the date is a race weekend?
I do not know the specific date off the top of my head. If someone does know.
I don't think they've announced them yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either, especially since they don't have who they're playing just yet. I just know the Bills were really hyped about playing in London, and then my brain thought, Danny Rick wants to be doing fun things, and I foresee if he was willing to go to East Rutherford, New Jersey to see the Bills play, I think he would definitely enjoy seeing them play in Europe.
Well, he can just, do a simulation set at the Milton Keynes factory and then just like take a train to London. Like that's actually probably an easier commute.
Josh Allen will be upset if he does not see Ricardo there. It's just...
Do you think that's why the Bills lost? Because Ricardo didn't show up?
Maybe, probably. I think so. Maybe it's because Josh Allen didn't wear his Rick Rodeo merch that day. Oh, well, you know what? He lost when he lost to the Jets. So actually, they might not want him there. I was just remembering all this back.
Okay, see, now I want to do a whole thing and see, like, every time an F1 driver has attended a game, like, did they win or lose? Because, so Lewis is a part owner of the Broncos, and when he attended that game, I mean, the Denver Broncos were so bad this year, so they lost. And now I don't know, when Lance went to the Giants game this year, did they win or lose? Do you know?
I don't remember, but Pierre did go to the World Cup when France lost. So now it's like a Drake curse, but for all drivers.
But if I have to look up every single sporting event an F1 driver has attended to see if they won or lost, that's too much work. So I'm going to keep it contained to the NFL, and I'll report back on the Lance one because I now want to know. Because I think everything else, at least this year, that an F1 driver did with the NFL. Because Logan went to that Dolphins game, and I think they lost that game too.
This is a live conspiracy that we have just developed and have not fact-checked any of those scores, but know for sure Bills lost when Ricardo was there. Yep. The Broncos are the Broncos right now, the way they are after Lewis has
Let's Ride
come on board.
Which is a reference you'll only know if you're actually in a... This is an F1 podcast, and I just made an NFL reference, but Let's Ride.
Okay, that's a lot of sports talk we got from Paris Fashion Week to all of this. I'm not done with my gossip grid. We're going to keep going. So now I'm going to talk about Alex Albon. Love Alex. 10 things Alex Albon can't live without that he filmed with GQ Sports. I absolutely love watching people do these 10 things they can't live without because you always learn so much about them. And it's always more than 10 things. You get a lot of stuff. So just to give some of the highlights that he showed us, he can't live without his Oculus Rift, which I really wanted to make fun of him for when he showed that. I felt like it was a very lame boy pick. But then he said that he bought a golf club handle for the controller so that him and Lily could do long distance golf dates. I'm like, stop, that's so cute. We also got to give shout out his skincare routine. And when I say skincare routine, I mean SPF. And if that's enough, what I'm really jealous of is he has a Chipotle celebrity VIP card. And it's my ultimate goal in life is to get one of these. It comes in a wooden box, it's personalized, and you can just walk into a Chipotle and show your card and you get free Chipotle. They have to renew it every year, so you need to be re-indoctrinated, kept into the Chipotle Celebrity Club. We also had some more GQ fun. We had Lando on the cover of the British GQ. He was spotting several different designers. The easiest ones that I'm able to say that he was wearing was Hermes and Louis Vuitton. He talked a lot about the stresses that he gets and the pressure that he feels from fans and media and how it affects his mental health. He talked about his passions of golf and photography, as we see on lando.jpg, and what he sees in his future career as a driver with F1. And finally, the piece that I have been absolutely dying to talk about, and I will definitely, of course, relate this to F1, but hot topic, and I don't know who doesn't know about this, the Queen, Shakira. So, if you're living under a rock, which I know you're not, but because we've already discussed this because we love Shakira. Shakira has recently released a new song, Biz Rap Music Sessions number 53. So, the song is basically an entire tearing apart of her ex-husband, Jura Piqué. He deserves it. He cheats on Shakira. I can't believe it. But there's a ton of Easter eggs in it. I absolutely love when people utilize Easter eggs, and boy, we could talk about them forever and ever and ever. Between the Easter eggs of eating Shakira's jam, Gerard's parents being their neighbors still, the claramente emphasis on the clara, and reading the lyrics specifically. She says, "I'm worth two 22-year-olds. You traded a Ferrari for a Twingo. You traded a Rolex for a Casio." So, Ferrari, we love Ferrari, shout out to the Prancing Horse, and Rolex, major sponsor for F1. And shout out to Shakira for being Shakira. And that's all I got for this week's Gossip Grid. We want to give a huge thank you to voiceover man Bryce from Apple and our four-legged executive producers. Follow, rate, and review the pod. Please give us 5 stars. Be our friend. Follow us everywhere, TikTok, Twitter, social media. We are at Gridwalk Show. We will see you next Thursday and every Thursday after.